Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Before we get started, please take a minute and click subscribe to my channel if you don't already. And please check out the link you see on your screen for a message from my sponsor, The Motley Fool. It's the best way to support the work I'm doing, and you can get the top 10 stocks to buy right now. If you're a student loan borrower, or if you just read the news, you've probably heard that the Supreme Court recently rejected President Biden's plan to forgive student loan debt. The plan had called for forgiving $10,000 per borrower and in some cases $20,000. Well, the Supreme Court said now that that is not going to happen. However, it's important to know that was only one of the parts of Biden's student loan forgiveness plan that was originally released, and not all of it was affected by the Supreme Court decision. And shortly after the Supreme Court decision, the administration announced a few other things they're going to do to make paying student loans a little bit easier on borrowers. So, number one, and I kind of speculated that this was going to happen in other videos I've done on student loans, there is going to be a grace period. They're calling it a 12-month on ramp. Essentially, this is a grace period to start repaying. So, technically speaking, student loan interest starts accumulating in September, and payments will be due beginning in October. However, through September 30th of next year, 2024, there will be a period where any missed payments will not count against borrowers. If you can't make your student loan payments in, say, October and November of this year, you don't have to, and it won't count against you. It won't hurt your credit. It won't trigger any collection activity or anything like that. And any unpaid interest will not be added to your balance. So you can choose to kind of kick the can down the road a little bit if you want to. If you can make your student loan payments, the administration and me as a certified financial planner encourage you to do so. But it can be a lot of help if restarting your student loan payments are going to be a little bit of a shock to your financial situation. It gives you a little bit more time to plan. Number two, they're rolling out a cheaper repayment plan. Income driven repayment plans have been a great tool for federal student loan borrowers for years and years. And they're about to get even better. They're rolling out a new plan called the Saving on a Valuable Education, or SAVE plan, which essentially caps your student loan payments at just 5% of your discretionary income for undergraduate loans. Current plans, for the most part, cap student loan payments at 10% of discretionary income. So this would be half of the required payment. And not only that, but the definition of discretionary income itself is increasing substantially, roughly to the equivalent of a single person's discretionary income would be the equivalent of making $15 an hour in a full-time job. So less income would be subject to that calculation, and the amount that you would have to pay is cut in half. So number three, we've all heard these horror stories, especially before the pandemic, of people who have been making their student loan payments for 10, 20 years and now owe more than they started with. That's because of unpaid interest being capitalized onto the principal. I talked about income driven repayment plans. And just for example, let's say that the required minimum payment, or the required payment you have to make under an income driven plan, is $100 a month. But meanwhile, the interest that's accumulating on your student loans is $300 a month. In the past, that extra $200 would be tacked onto your loan balance and would add to the principal. This is how people's student loan balances would go up over time. Now, as long as you're making the minimum payment, or the payment that you have to make on your income driven repayment plan, nobody's student loan balance is going to go up over time. So that solves a big problem of student loan debt right there. And last, this isn't something that we know about yet, but in the press release, the Biden administration is looking at other ways to potentially forgive a wide amount of student loan debt. We don't know what this means yet, but we know that they are starting the process, and stay tuned for additional details. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.